What's up, guys? We're going to do all the spoilers for Heart Eyes. I can't stop thinking about this movie. I had such a blast with it. So anyway, let's get started. What's up, guys? This is just a laid back and loose spoiler talk for Heart Eyes. If the movie is like very spoiler rich, then I'm definitely going to try to do all the spoilers, especially if it's a big horror new release. And I'm way overdue. I planned on recording this the other night, but I'll try to remember what I can. I don't remember every nugget, but of course I remember the last act, which is pretty crazy. I don't remember the exact detail of some of the kills, but I will ask you guys, post down in the comments your favorite kill of this movie, or maybe like your top 3 favorite kills of Heart Eyes. I would be curious to see what you guys think, because I did see some complaints about this movie from some of the other reviewers as far as like the overall tone of it. And my question is, this movie had tons of great kills in it. It was fun as hell. This is exactly what you want in a Valentine's slasher. Like, do you want a Valentine's Day slasher that's just pretty much serious and doesn't like wink at the audience along the way? You might, I don't know. But thinking back to, you know, the greats, the other Valentine's slashers, all of them were kind of tongue-in-cheek and had more of a fun side. I would say the original My Bloody Valentine, which I think is probably the best of all these. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. I think that's probably the most serious. And the interesting thing about that movie is that it mentions this early killer by the name of Harry Warden. And we never got like a prequel to that movie, which it begs to have, right? Harry Warden is one of the only killers in slasher history that only gets a mention in one of the movies. He doesn't have his own movie. Isn't that interesting to you guys? I'm shocked that nobody has ever came forth with the idea of let's make a prequel about Harry Warden. Weird. Now, first off, I guess easing into it with the characters, Allie and Jay, I thought they were actually just irresistible. One of the big surprises for me that they didn't really spoil in the trailer was that they weren't a couple. And the trailer would have you believe that they are a couple on a date. But no, it's pretty much a business meeting. And Jay, he's kind of going hard for Allie. I think he really wants to hook up with her to date her, I guess. And Allie has this rough past with dating, which is, I think, so relatable to a lot of young people these days. I hear it all the time. Sometimes people even saying, I'm done dating. I can't do this anymore. It's just too much work. It's too much of a pain in the ass. I hear it from both genders about it. And it's, you know, I think it was an interesting angle to put in this movie, a character that is just kind of done with it. And then you have Jay here, who is all for it. You know, he's a hopeless romantic. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he come from a broken home, like his family got a divorce or something like that? I can't remember. You'll let me know. See, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Because I saw this movie over a week ago, there are certain elements I don't remember about it. I can't wait to buy it, to own it, so I can rewatch it. Now, let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's talk about that last act, because I think that last act does kind of pull from some of the events that happen along the way. And by the way, this is a spoiler review. Sometimes I just have to remind people that. I've had literally people get mad at me in a spoiler review for spoiling the movie. I can't make this up. I swear to God, that has happened. It was very strange. I had one guy say, wow, kind of a dick move to do a spoiler review. What? Like, just, you know, there's an easy fix for that. Don't click on the video. That's all you got to do. Don't click on the video. And are you new to Planet Earth? Are you new to YouTube? Spoiler reviews are a big thing on YouTube. People do them all the time. What am I talking about? The big reveal, and I have a question for my audience, okay? The big reveal is obviously there are not 2, but 3 killers. 3 that we know of, okay? The main heck killers are Detective Shaw, played by Jordana Brewster, and her husband, who is the IT guy. And the fun thing about whodunits slashers is that you're constantly pointing the finger throughout the movie, watching to find out who could be the killer. As soon as I saw this IT guy, and he's only in the movie for a couple minutes, I'm not bragging or anything, but I was like, yeah, he's one of the killers. He's got to be one of the killers, okay? But I was quite surprised that Jordana Brewster was actually one of the killers as well. This is one of those final acts that goes for broke. It's pretty epic. It's pretty big. It's exposition heavy. Scream kind of created this monster of having a big final act with probably 2 killers, and the killers having to stop everything they're doing and tell their entire reasoning for doing the murders. And this wasn't the biggest deal in the 80s. You would have killers that would just kill for, no reason. Or if they did have a reason, it wasn't that big of a deal, right? It was more about the killer himself or herself than it was about this whole exposition heavy final act. Like I said, Scream kind of created that. So my question to you guys is that a problem? Like, do you see that as kind of an issue these days? Storytellers wanting to have more than one killer. Do you prefer having just one killer? Or do you feel like it's awesome to have, big surprises? Now we have 3 killers, maybe more in this movie. We had 3 killers in Scream 6. Is there a line? Can it get to where you have like freaking 6 killers in a movie? Has that happened before? I know in Scream 3, there was going to be like this cult of Ghostface killers. That idea was kind of approached in Scream 6 a little bit. And I hate to get into Scream 7 talk, but calling it right now, I would not be surprised if there are at least 2, maybe 3 killers in Scream 7. But this wasn't just exposition heavy. There was still some good action in that last act of the movie. It was a nice reveal that the fanboy of the Heck Killers, his name was Eli. I read somewhere that he actually did the opening kill, and he also did the kills, or he was one of the killers at the drive-in, which the drive-in was an awesome freaking scene, by the way. I love a good like mass killing scene in a slasher movie. It's almost like a bonus, which is what it was in this case. But Jordana Brewster, Detective Shaw, she ends up getting killed, her and her husband actually, by Eli and Jay. They have a big showdown, and she ends up getting killed. And that scene was kind of similar to the scene in My Bloody Valentine remake, where the girl gets a shovel to half of her face and then the rest of her body slides down. And that's sort of what happens, even though there's no shovel in this case. But yeah, her body, she ends up becoming detached from her head. And it was a pretty gnarly kill. And I love that this movie was such a wide spectrum of light and dark. Comedy and brutal violence. They showed you in the trailer that one scene in the back of the car where the Heck Killer, he opens the door. And by the way, you got Jay and Allie in the front seat giggling as to what's going on in the back seat because they're having sex in the back seat. And I think movies like this, the audience will give permission for comedy like that to happen. Like if this was just a straight up serious movie, and something like that happened, then maybe somebody would poke at it more. But because of the nature of this movie, and you have moments like Jay and Allie stopping at the door when the killer's right behind them when they're in the apartment earlier, stuff like that, you give it a pass. It is kind of funny because of the nature of the movie. Scream is known for this stuff. I think especially like the earlier Scream movies that are heavy on comedy, but not getting in the way of the killings and the serious tone in terms of the killings. And that's a good segue into the Hard Eyes Killer. Just the idea of the Hard Eyes Killer, and that I think it's a genius stroke because you could go forward and have a part 2, have a part 3, have a franchise, and you could literally have a different Hard Eyes Killer in every single movie because of people wanting to keep it going. Having no real motive, just kind of doing this for kicks. I guarantee you, if this movie's a hit, then they're going to go forward with more movies. And I know I'm all over the place. That's just kind of the way I am with spoilers. But I have to mention the opening kill, too, at the winery. That was hilarious, how it opened up. I remember seeing it with the audience, and they're just laughing their asses off at the proposal. And then he's got this photographer taking a picture, and then great opening kill with the Hard Eyes Killer with the arrow just going through the camera lens. In real life, would somebody be able to put a wooden arrow through an entire camera? No, but it sure is fun. And then the boyfriend gets killed. You got the big chase, and then she gets killed in the that chamber. It closes in on itself, and it pretty much crushes her head. A nice big explosion of blood. Really, really fun stuff. Oh, and last thing, so I don't forget anything, of course, Devon Sawa was in this. Always fun to see him in any kind of horror movie. I expected him to get killed in the movie. I think it would have been interesting if he would have been the killer. But, you know, this is one of those movies like anybody could be the killer, right? But I wasn't that surprised that he got killed off. Anytime a detective makes it through one of these movies, then they're lucky, okay? Because it seems like, especially in like 2000 slashers and on, detectives don't seem to be that lucky. It seems like they were more lucky in like the 70s and 80s than they are today. And that was the case in this movie. You know, one of the detectives ended up being one of the killers. So yeah, guys, that's my spoiler talk for Heart Eyes. Such a fun freaking movie. Had such a blast with it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this movie. Was it not your bag? I saw a couple people stating that they didn't like the movie, but I adored it, and I almost went to go see it again today, but I had to go see the Led Zeppelin documentary, which I'm going to do a review for that one. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel too. Got a lot of stuff coming, and I'm still doing a lot of catalog reviews. I just dropped my Ninja 3, the Domination review, and I did a deep dive into that one. The algorithm doesn't like those, okay? So you're not going to see as many views on stuff like that, but I'll still do it because I really enjoy talking about that stuff. So if you really want more and more and more of those, which I'm going to give them to you anyway, it doesn't hurt to give them a chance. Click on it. Maybe you'll want to watch the movie to some of my younger viewers. So yeah, and just thank you guys. Thank you so much for keeping the channel going for 10 years. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you to the channel members. We have such a blast. And I got some stuff cooking in the live stream department going forward. Maybe having a couple of guests on recurring to talk like horror news and topical type stuff. So stay tuned for that. Okay, stuff is in the boiler. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do FIFA Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.